This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and hey, a fitness band for a change. It's kind of a cross between a fitness band and a smartwatch. What is it? This is the Samsung Gear Fit 2. It's been 2 years since Samsung came out with the original Gear Fit, and they've made some improvements, notably a much faster CPU inside, so better performance. Not that the last one was all that sluggish, and a wider display, so it's more useful for reading text. Now, this one just works in portrait mode, like so. It doesn't. There's no option to go sideways, and in fact, there is obviously an accelerometer in this. If you turn it in certain directions, it will turn off the screen to power save. But if you're left-handed like I am, you can't flip it upside down and then change the orientation. So the buttons are a little bit less convenient because they're going to be on the inside. So when you wear it, on your left hand like a right-handed person would, the buttons are a little bit more accessible. Not a big complaint, but it'd be kind of nice if it went upside down. Anyway, a lot to talk about here. We're going to look at it now. The Gear Fit 2 is a very comfortable watch, and I'm really picky about having things on my wrist. I just don't like the feeling, and a lot of things are kind of heavy for me. Now, I may be tall at 5'10", but I don't have the hugest wrists or anything like that, so a lot of things look pretty bulky. This actually doesn't look as bulky as a lot of other devices. The curve also is brilliantly comfortable on this, and it's fairly light too, so I don't feel it. Now, those of you who've watched our videos know that I often wear an Apple Watch. I would have to say that this is more comfortable. It's the curved display, and it's a very supple band, and it's available in 2 different sizes. This is the small one, and there's a large one. It's also available in 3 colors. We have black right here, which seems to be the most commonly available for women, strangely enough. And there's also blue, which is like a cornflower blue, and pink, which is really zingy pink. So I guess we have boy-girl colors if you want to go with the usual traditional kind of sexist paradigm, and we have neutral black here. This is a removable band, though. It uses the same proprietary connector system as the Gear 2, so you can swap bands out if you want to change colors or if there are patterns, new textures, whatever it is. This is hypoallergenic, and it has not given me any problems, any kind of rash. I've sweated on the thing like crazy when I go to the gym. It's washable. It's very soft. It's softer than the last Gear Fit band. It's quite nice, and it's pretty easy to put on and take off. It's a snap system. It can be yanked off, but that's a safety thing too. You don't want it to be something that you get caught on and then get your hand pulled into the meat grinder, so to speak. The watch runs Samsung's Tizen OS, which is typical of their Gear watches, and it has smart watch capabilities, but they're not really emphasized here. And there are apps, but not very many, particularly not for this screen size here. You can see we have a music player, 4 gigs of internal storage. So for those of you who don't want to take your phone with you when you go out for a run or cycling, you can store music locally and stream them to Bluetooth headphones. Now, there is no built-in speaker, so it's only going to be to your headphones. Apps include your exercise, your step monitor, your floor monitor. You've got a heart rate monitor here with a companion app. Together, you can exercise with your friends, tracking water and caffeine if you want. By the way, you can hide these if you really don't want to keep track of how much coffee you drink. So we have other apps. We have a timer. We have a stopwatch. We have Spotify here. Now, Spotify really is streaming from your phone, so you're going to have to take your phone with you if you want to use that. I know some people find that egregious. I don't. Honestly, maybe it's because I'm a woman, but if I'm going out for a run, I like to have my phone so I can actually call in case something goes wrong and I have an emergency, but that's up to you. And now there's a new app I just got, which is an alarm. So this is not something you're going to be playing Angry Birds on it. You get the idea right there, at least not at this point, but it has all the core fitness apps you could want on it and a couple of basics, and really that nice feature is the 4 gigs of internal storage for music for playback. Now, this works with any Android phone running KitKat 4.4 or newer. I'm using it with the Samsung Galaxy S7 right now. You don't have to do that, though. You could use it with an HTC 10, any phone that you want. And other smart features include, see the little dot right up here? Well, that tells you that you've got some notification. So you swipe here and you can see the weather over here, which is nice because there's no temperature or weather embedded in any of the home screens so far. That's just not a feature that it tracks. Heat advisory, this is not a day to go out running, obviously. And most of these are going to tell you to show it on phone if you want more information. This is the back button, the other button on the side right here. So it's pretty easy to use, pretty intuitive. It's all swiping. And if you're done with it all, you just hit clear all, and boom, they're gone. If you clear a notification on your phone, it'll automatically be cleared on your watch. The default watch face is right here. That's how many stairs I've climbed, how many steps I've taken, and how many calories I've burned. There are other watch faces. The new ones keep appearing every day. So if you go to display, you can choose your watch face. And you can also use the Gear app on the smartphone. I'll show you to choose too. And I put a bunch of different ones on here. One that I like is actually a third-party one that has kind of an analog flip clock, but it shows you a lot of information on there. So we'll select that one, and this is actually battery charge indicator. Day, always useful to know. So, speaking of battery, 200 milliamp battery in here. Samsung says it's good for 3 to 4 days, which among fitness trackers isn't that impressive. A lot of them, especially ones with monochrome displays, can go even longer. But for a smartwatch, that's actually very good. It runs about twice as long as, say, my Apple Watch, which has very good fitness capabilities, one of the things that I like about it. The charger has gotten a little bit bigger, the charging stand, that is. You do get one of these in the box, too. You don't have to use your phones, and this is the traditional 2 amp charger. So this is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit easier to put it on there to charge. And it's pretty brain dead. It locates via magnets, and it would light up and tell you it's charging if this was actually plugged into the wall at the moment. But if you're going away for a week, you're going to have to take this thing with you, too. So this thing has plenty of sensors inside. It doesn't have quite as many as the Microsoft Band 2, which even has a skin temperature monitor. But right here, we've got, just like many of the watches now, they use the photometry basically to sing a little green light into your wrist, and that's how they figure out your heart rate. They can see the blood passing through in pulses, ideally. So it has that. It has Bluetooth 4.2, and that's how it's going to stay connected to your phone. It also has Wi-Fi and can use Wi-Fi Direct to transfer stuff to and from the phone. So if you want to download that 3 gigs of music, it's going to be quick. It's not going to be Bluetooth speed. It's going to be Wi-Fi Direct speeds. Nice to have there. In addition, as I mentioned, it has the GPS. So the nice thing is you don't have to have your phone with you. It takes a while for it to acquire a signal. That's the challenging thing. You got to wait at least a minute, in my experience, for it to get the GPS signal. Even though when you tell it, I'm going for a run outside, it can, start the timer before you've actually gotten your signal acquired. But minor thing, what's a minute among runners? And it does a good job, and you actually get a map of your route afterwards, and you can check that out in S Health, so that's pretty useful. Also, you can use that for cycling. It can also auto-sense a variety of workouts. So if you forget to tell it, hey, I've gotten on the rowing machine, it's probably going to figure it out. Now, it might miss the first couple of minutes. It might not when it's tracking your workout. So for those of us who are real sticklers for how much time we spend, how many calories we burn, all that sort of thing, you probably still want to tell it. And so you want to start exercising. You can actually assign a quick exercise. We've got information here, calories. There's my exercise right there. All the things you'd expect just from swiping back and forth. You can add something new, but I've assigned quick exercise right here, which is exercise bike, because I do that just every single day. But what if I want to do some other kind of exercise? I just choose exercise right there, and activity type. Running, walking, hiking, cycling, step machine, exercise bike, elliptical, treadmill, lunges, crunches, squats, Pilates, yoga, rowing machine, and other for anything else. It's geared towards weightlifting on weight machines, that sort of thing. So you can set your duration, you can have interval markers, vibrating kind of markers, and that sort of thing. It's pretty easy to use, in other words. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple, it's pretty streamlined towards, well, fitness activities. So there are 2 apps that you're going to use. One is Gear Fit 2 app, obviously. So here you can choose your watch faces. You can download more. It has links to the Gear store where you'll see, well, a whole lot of watch faces and very few applications at this point. You can control what notifications you get. So you can get notifications pretty much from any application that gives you a notification on your phone. It's not just the core application. With Gmail, you can actually tap on it and read a part of the message, that sort of thing. But if you get notifications from CNN or your weather service, like you saw WeatherBug on there, you'll get those on the watch too. You can also get call notifications, but you cannot conduct calls on the watch itself. You can reorder your apps, send your music to your Gear. You can find your Gear. Well, you can't make it make any sound. You can make it vibrate, and you can make it light up if you've misplaced it, but without it being able to actually make any sound, not having a speaker, well, good luck finding it that way. And for apps right here, here's the Gear store. And, well, that's pretty much it right now. So not a whole lot. Watch faces gets a little bit more exciting, and new ones are appearing every day. Not all of them are paid for. Some of them are. Some of the ones I like the best actually happen to be free. You get the idea. But obviously you're using this as a fitness tracker because it is a fitness-oriented product. So you're going to want to install S Health if you don't have it already. If you have an Android Galaxy phone, you already have S Health. Now, things like the oxygen saturation level for your blood, that's actually measured by the phone, because this phone has a sensor for that. So you can check out all of this stuff here, and some of these, again, the stress monitor is kind of a hokey thing that the phone does itself. So what about gear stuff? So right here, here's my information for today. What if I want to see information from previous days? So here's the information right here, so I can track that day by day. It's fairly useful stuff. It's better certainly than Apple's little health application, which I found to be just about useless. Clearly, they want you to use something third party there. Now, back on the watch, it's actually a little bit more informative, again, than something like the Apple Watch or most smartwatches on the market. You know, fitness trackers, well, they're a little different. They do have more information. Let's look at the 24-hour log. So it knows when I take it off, so it said, aha, not on wrist right here, and it shows me how many calories. And then there's yesterday. Tap on that to reveal it, and here you can see where I went to the gym, and I have a variety of workouts, and it can track sleeping too. Now here's the interesting thing. It's pretty comfortable to wear when you are sleeping, and it will track how much time you spend asleep. But if you just decided to have a bunch of juicy slices of watermelon and a beer before bed, and you get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, it may or may not figure out when you go back to bed again and sleep some more. So one day I thought I only slept for 5 hours because of that. But at 96% efficiency, it said. So it looks at how restless you are, I guess, how much the accelerometer is bouncing around, that sort of thing. The next day, it actually figured out, because I had more watermelon and another beer and did get up in the night, but it figured I went back to bed. So it said, hey, you slept 8 hours. But it had no opinion of my efficiency level for sleeping. So, you know. Yeah. Now, one thing I like about this is the larger, wider display. It's more practical. 1.5-inch measurement. It's 216 by 432 pixels. This is an AMOLED display. It's bright. It's also, as you probably noticed, very reflective. That's the only drawback. It is bright enough to see outside. And you can have an always-on display, which means it's got a little, you know, dim display that shows you the time. It doesn't mean you're going to see the vibrant colors and full brightness all the time. You can have your notification indicator on and off. You can set the screen timeout, which I find, because it looks at the accelerometer in your arm position, it may kind of actually ignore that. The default setting is 15 seconds on that. And the brightness is just a simple scale of 1 to 10. And then we have outdoor mode, so you can get crazy super bright. Now, even here in the Texas sun, I have not needed to use outdoor mode when I'm outdoors. I've discovered that when I use smartwatch features, mostly it's just for the notifications. I do like the ability to actually transfer calls to the watch too, but you know, you can't always have that. Apple Watch does that. It's not the most common feature otherwise. But anyway, this gives me those notifications, but I really like the health and fitness features. I do like to work out a lot. And this does a good job at a very fair price point. It's less expensive by a little bit, though the Microsoft Band 2 has been on sale a lot, but it's less expensive than the Band 2 and less bulky. And for somebody like me who doesn't have a humongous wrist, that is important. And it's cheaper than something like the high-end Fitbit Surge, plus it's nicer looking. This is something that you actually have to wear every day. I particularly like it in the blue color for the band, rather than the black, but hey. Battery life relative to a smartwatch is very good. Battery life relative to a fitness device is not that impressive, but I typically have gone easily 2 days to 3 days with this, which is not so far off from what Samsung is claiming, and that's okay for me. So all in all, I've actually enjoyed my week of using the Gear Fit 2, and I didn't find myself missing the Apple Watch all that much. For fitness tracking, for comfort, for the lightness of it, it gets the job done. But keep in mind, if you're an iPhone person, this is not going to work with the iPhone. Maybe in the future, but that's not going to do you any good if you buy it right now. So this is for your Android folks only. So that's the Samsung Gear Fit 2, available now. Again, it's $179, which makes it one of the more affordable fitness band / sort of smartwatch solutions that has a GPS built in, a heart rate monitor, all those nice features that you'd want to see. Less bulky than the Microsoft Band 2, cheaper than something like the Fitbit Surge. Also, arguably, a lot prettier looking, and it has a nice, bright, colorful display, too. For, I would say, novice to moderate exercise junkies, it's a pretty good deal. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full written review and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos.